Welcome back. We're here with Iowa Attorney General Brenna Bird. We're discussing some things around Section 504 with the state joining with 17 other states, so 17 in total, back in early fall last year with some action that the Biden administration had taken to add gender dysphoria, to put that in protected classes. Now, that section has other things, including disabled folks. So the news station has received a lot of emails from parents with disabled children or disabled folks themselves concerned of how the lawsuit was originally written. Now, just to be clear for viewers too, the lawsuit is now paused as the Trump administration is looking over the rule. And just last week, Attorney General, you had released a statement clarifying with the joint status report that was also released last week too. So I guess let's start here. It was a big intro, but why do you think the clarification, let's call it, was needed?
Well, I support and will continue to support disability accommodations under 504. They're important to a lot of kids and parents because every child should have access to education. And if an accommodation is needed because of a physical disability or a learning disability, it's important that each child has an environment that they can learn in. But what the Biden-Harris administration did, and the reason we joined that lawsuit with 17 states total, is because the Biden-Harris administration was imposing a radical transgender mandate on schools through Section 504. Essentially, they were saying that gender dysphoria has to be accommodated by schools, or schools would risk their funding. And we're talking about boys and girls bathrooms, boys and girls locker rooms, boys on girls and women's sports teams, things that we have passed laws in Iowa to protect girls, to make sure that they're safe and have private spaces. So what Biden did was illegal and unconstitutional. I'm very glad that when President Trump took office, he paused the lawsuit together with us because he's been working through and fixing a lot of problems that the federal government has with this issue.
And just following up on that, what can President Trump do? Do you think this lawsuit, I know it's paused right now, but do you think it'll resume, or depending on whatever action the president will take?
Well, I think President Trump's been very clear. I was there at the White House when he signed the executive order making it clear to protect girls' sports and women's sports. So he's been very clear about his stance on the issue. There are just a number of agencies, and he's working his way through all of those. The education head was confirmed not too long ago. So we know it's on the administration's to-do list, and we look forward to working with them to solve the problem.
So I want to talk a little bit about, I guess, what Iowans have been sharing in terms of their concerns from the original lawsuit that was filed. Do you share, or do you understand why some Iowans might be concerned with how that lawsuit was written? Although your intent, you stated when the state had joined, was specifically for gender dysphoria, talking about restrooms, sports, and everything of that nature. Could you understand the concern with how the lawsuit was written, or is that something that you foresaw happening when the state had joined the suit?
Our lawsuit against the Biden administration is all about the transgender mandate on public schools, one that would hold taxpayer funds hostage and force schools to accommodate gender dysphoria as if it were a disability, just like other disabilities are accommodated. And it would force boys and girls bathrooms, locker rooms, and on their sports teams. So something that our laws don't allow here in Iowa. So it was important that we join that lawsuit against the Biden administration, hold them accountable, and stop them from what they were doing, because what they were doing was illegal and unconstitutional. That's what that lawsuit is all about. Section 504 has been around for a long time, since the 70s, over half a century, and it provides important options and accommodations to families with disabilities so that kids can have access to what they need in school so that they can learn in the way that they need, whether it's making sure that schools are friendly to wheelchairs if a child's in a wheelchair, or making sure that a child with a learning disability has more time to take a test or receives information in different formats. Those are all things that parents and kids depend on in school, and the lawsuit doesn't have anything to do with that. It's all about the radical gender mandate that has to be stopped.
Now, Iowa Senate Democrats are responding. Senator Janet Peterson of Des Moines says, quote, regardless of what Attorney General Brenna Bird claims, If granted everything it asks for, this lawsuit could effectively end accommodations for Iowa kids with disabilities. She continues, this lawsuit is shameful. Iowa's participation is shameful. And the Attorney General's attempt to pull the wool over Iowans' eyes is infuriating, end quote. Today on Iowa Sunday, we'll be right back with the second half of the interview with Attorney General.